Oilers post-game audio edition after a 9-2 win for the Okotoks Oilers in Camrose over the Kodiaks with assistant coach Reid Hnatowich. And coach, after a 2-0 deficit after 20 minutes, how do you guys as a staff summarize how different your team looked in the next 40? Because that's some of the best offensive play we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, and even like reflecting on the first period there, we definitely had our chances in terms of what we were doing. Really reflecting on yesterday's game, needed to do a better job at moving pucks, advancing plays towards the net, and I think in that second period, you're really seeing it. And this team's cool in the sense of the offensive capabilities that we had, and I'm just happy to see it kind of flourish tonight.
Is it especially impressive to see after how kind of emotionally difficult the team was at times last year, to see them not really lose a step after going down 2-0 despite outplaying their opposition at times, and seemed like this team really never collapsed or anything. If anything, they built off of that adversity.
Yeah, and we have a really cool group of players here who at the end of the day are all very focused individuals with a goal of success. So that was one in the sense of, we're down 2-0 deficit. We were playing some good hockey and just kind of stick with the game plan in the sense, try and mass produce more, get in front of the goalie's eyes. And I think we did that well in the second and third, and obviously the results showed.
There were two things that were really clear about the penalty kill this weekend. A, you got to see it a lot, so you definitely got a lot of practice on it. But B, not only was it really, really effective, but you scored twice. You guys are actually +1 on the penalty kill over the course of the weekend. And what does that say about the way your team played when down a man? And for Connor Gorley's shorthanded goal, that was a big part of this offensive explosion too.
Yeah, and good one for him. Just a situation where he did a really good job pressuring the point. Good stick, turned it over, and then went from there. The penalty kill with us is a big thing. It's something that we take pride in. I thought yesterday, in terms of our aggressiveness, we were a little bit more passive, but kind of reflecting on it today, the aggressiveness in the penalty kill is where we have success. And obviously, again, that showcased tonight.
I got to ask you about a line that seemed to really be stars in both games. Jackson Rowland with Ryan Newman and Brody Spencer-Ha. They seemed to generate every time they were out there, and even though they were listed as the fourth line yesterday, they might have played some of the most minutes of anybody over the course of this weekend. How much trust did they earn and confidence from the coaching staff with the way they played early and how they seemed to keep generating more and more as the weekend went on?
Yeah, like you look at those three players as individuals. All extremely hardworking, all have the ability to skate, and that's one of those things where those three as a collective unit, have consistently, every shift's been aggressive with their skating, aggressive with their puck pursuit, and have just worked their tails off in every scenario. And it's cool in the sense of, their work ethic paying off and how they work as a collective unit in terms of what they were able to produce. That line yesterday, multiple chances, and obviously tonight, capitalizing. They're a kind of cool piece that I'm very excited to see grow throughout the year.
You also saw, the big guns really come on as the game progressed. Connor Hellier gets a great 4-point night tonight. Dean Spack was an offensive catalyst all weekend. And what did you think of the way the veteran core in this team really seemed to develop from game 1 to game 2?
I was really happy with the group in that sense. Like if you look at these games, obviously there's emotions throughout it. You're down 2-0, you start to get a lead, and the biggest thing with that in the sense is just managing your emotions, staying kind of even keel, and making sure your task at hand is what you want to do. And I think those guys, even though they brought a lot of high points throughout the game on the bench and with their shifts, everyone, no matter how high it got, no matter how low it got, they just went out and did their jobs. And that's with the leadership group in the sense of that they did a well job at managing the game.
It's always a tough weekend to kick things off, and the team responded to the adversity well with the back-to-back games in Camrose. Now you get to come back home for a comfortable weekend in terms of setting, but maybe not in terms of opponent. You've got Drumheller on Saturday, who is always a quality team, and the Olds Grizzlies off to one of their best starts in recent memory, going 2-0 to start the season. What do you guys expect? And even though you're coming off a big high here, what's going to be the focus for the next few days of practice too?
Well, both teams, play a heavy game. So I think heading into this week, we just need to find kind of detail and tune some of the stuff in the neutral zone and the defensive zone, and then obviously kind of heading in to that weekend, going through, watching our kind of pre-scout, both teams are going to be working hard, and we just have to make sure that we match and outwork their effort.
Well, Reid, appreciate this as always. Congrats on the win.
Thanks, King. Hey, almost.